Gonna get into UFC 312 today and basically go throughout the card, starting from the best fight on the card, Duplessis versus Strickland 2, all the way down to the worst fight on the card. This video is gonna start great and progressively get worse and more frustrating based on how trash this entire card is. Let's kick it off and start it off with a bang. The only good fight on the entire card. All right, for real, let's stop fooling around. There's a couple good fights. That's it. The entire card out of 10 is probably a strong 3.5. The reason I say that is because most of the Australian stars are not even fighting on the card. That is the truth. Volk is not fighting on the card. Jack Della Maddalena is not fighting on the card. I know Izzy and Hooker are both New Zealanders. They usually would fight on a Australian pay-per-view. They're not on the card. It's just there's not enough star power on this card, and that's fine. Most people don't pay for these anyways. I really don't think that this one's worth it. And even on top of it not being worth it, the prelims don't provide us with anything great either, to be completely honest. I'm okay with the main card being decent if the prelims would suffice, but those are kind of trash too. It's a lot of debuts. Anyways, let's get right into it. Starting off with Dricus versus Strickland at the very top. Prediction and breakdown. I don't see this one going much different than the first one, to be completely honest. I think Dricus is going to come out even more high pace and more grappling heavy because it worked for him last time. And I think Strickland's worked on that as well. I think Dricus has shown more levels of growth compared to Strickland, to be honest. And we saw that against Izzy compared to Strickland, who basically fought the same exact type of fight against Costa. Don't get me wrong, he dog-walked Costa. Anyone who says that fight was close is lying to themselves. Strickland won that fight 4 rounds to 1, maybe. It honestly was more of a 50-45. I see this one pretty much going exactly the same as the first one, other than Strickland gets 3 rounds to 2. I think Strickland's going to win this fight. I think he's worked more at the grappling, and I think he's expecting that now compared to last time. I don't think they caught on to Dricus shooting at the last minute and a half mark to minute mark of every single round to secure the round. And also, I think we've been seeing a difference in the judging going more towards damage rather than control. We've seen a couple of the Magomedovs losing, and the Russians who hold and grapple and don't really do much damage. So I think Strickland's going to get it done, and I think he's going to win a 49-48 decision against Dricus. And I want Dricus to win. I think it's better for a division if Dricus wins, but to be honest with you, I think this fight has upset written all over it. Just because everyone I've seen has just been like, Dricus going to win, Dricus going to win. And it just gives off the vibe that Strickland is going to outdo him, outwork him, outpace him. And I think Dricus going out there starting off hot like he did last time is going to mess with his gas tank. I also think we saw weakness in Dricus's game when people go to the body, as we saw Izzy going to the body early. Strickland teeping a lot more in his past couple fights. I think they've been preparing for this. Dricus has a weakness to his body. Even though he has the most heart in the entire UFC, he leaves his body open and he takes a lot of shots. And that will drain anybody's gas tank. It doesn't matter how much heart you have. I think Strickland's going to get it done by decision. I think it's going to be pretty close, and people are going to be screaming robbery. It is what it is. This is the highlight of the video, to be honest with you. So if you don't want to watch anything else, I don't blame you. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. The rest of the card is pretty much trash. Let me show you. Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. I think Zhang Weili is not active enough as a champion, and to be honest, I would like Tatiana to win. I know she's boring. I understand she's a wrestler. I think she can get it done on the ground or on the feet. Plain and simple, Tatiana Suarez by decision. Yeah. I think Zhang Weili's getting older. I think she's 35 now, and she's not active at all as a champion. I don't think that serves you well when you're an older champion not being active. I think you need to be in there as consistent as possible, as we see that with Alex Pereira. Being active at an older age, it serves him well. He is a kickboxer. I know there's a difference. He's used to fighting at this pace. But still, I think the older you get, the more time away you are from the cage, the more it affects ring rust. And I think ring rust is real. I understand some people don't think that. I think it's real. On to the next. Tatiana Suarez by decision. Next fight we got Talison Teixeira versus Justin Tafa. One of two ways. Justin Tafa knocks him out in the first round, or Talison Teixeira beats him up on the ground over and over and over. We've seen the Tafa brothers have no grappling experience. Once they're down, they throw hands, and that's it. I don't see them winning. I think Talison Teixeira has his head more in the game, and he's going to use the game plan of grappling, and I think it's going to work. I know he has heavy hands. We saw that on the Contender Series, but last one round with this guy, and he's going to be wheezing on the stool. It shows in his physique. It's the truth. Just weather the first round. That's all you have to do. On to the next. It just keeps getting worse, man. Like, Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. Jimmy Crute hasn't fought in like 2 years. How much is he really in the game? Yeah, I got Rodolfo by second or third round TKO. I think Jimmy Crute's going to get exhausted because he has not been that active. Even on the embedded series, his coach was saying, yeah, just happy to see him getting back in here and getting active and getting back to it. I'll be very surprised if Jimmy Crute comes out there and gets the win. On to the next. Progressively gets worse, guys. Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. I think Jake Matthews is going to piece him up on the feet. I think he has a lot better boxing than Francisco Prado. And hopefully he's been a bit more dedicated. I remember back in the day when Jake Matthews was coming up, it was like, oh, is this guy this? Me and him trained back in the day, and he's just outstanding. Very talented. I don't know what's happened recently. Hopefully he can get back on the horse. I'm picking him to win by second or third round TKO. Let's go second round TKO. I just think he has more ways to win than Francisco Prado, and he has a very good ground game. I think he'll use that to his advantage. Early takedowns, set up shots for the feet. We've seen it time and time again. On to the next. Now this one, you know what? Hold on now. I'm actually pretty excited for this one. Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. I think Jack Jenkins is very smart. He's a very skilled fighter. He's probably one of my favorite prospects coming up right now. I know he broke his arm or his forearm or something in his last fight trying to do a throw, and he just landed awkward on it, super like stretched out. He has one of the best leg kicks in the game, and he's very discreet about it, and he's broken multiple guys' legs. I think the guy's very smart. He game plans very well, and I think he's going to get a either late second round TKO or early third round TKO. I think he's that good that he will figure this guy out in one round and come out in the second round and piece up Gabriel Santos, who I just don't think is that good, to be honest. His last fight was just not great. I think he looked a little sloppy. On to the next. Tom Nolan versus Borshev. I'm not super familiar with Tom Nolan. He has a good record. He's 6'3". He's massive for the division. He just looks like he doesn't take a shot well. And neither does Borshev. I don't know, man. I'll go with Tom Nolan. You know what? Fuck it. I'll go with Tom Nolan. I think he has a dog in him. Decision. I don't really know. Borshev is good some fights, and then other fights I'm like, what the fuck are we doing, man? What are we doing? On to the next. Wing Kong, the killer. Okay? Some people call her the Joker. I've seen her hanging around the gym. She's been knocking out some of my guys. But I think Bruno Brazil is good enough to beat her. I think with her background in the Fighting Nerds camp, I think they've done their research. They've put in the time. And I think she's going to get the KO. Second or third round TKO on the ground. I don't think Wang Kong has very good grappling. We saw that in her last fight. Yeah, Bruno Brazil by second or third round TKO on the ground. You know what? Fuck it. Submission. Second round submission. I think she's going to hold her on the ground in the first round. Second round, she's going to get her down again, get the submission. Wang Kong's going to be exhausted. Fighting Nerds, they're good, man. The hell is up with these guys? I know both these guys are, but you couldn't get the profile pictures. I mean, you're the biggest promotion in the world for MMA, and you guys can't get the pictures. And that just shows how much effort the UFC is really putting into this card, and I'm tired of it. This is bullshit. How do you expect us to pay $85 fucking dollars for this crap? I know Colby Thickness is taking this on short notice, 2 weeks or so. He's very good. He's fought a lot better competition than Topuria has. I understand Topuria training with his brother, very sharp boxing, very good on the ground, but he's beat up cans consistently. If you look at their records, Thickness has faced better competition, and I think that'll show if he can survive the first round. This fight goes one of two ways. Either Topuria KOs him in the first round, or Colby weathers the first round and decisions him second and third round, picks him apart, and Topuria is exhausted. Colby's good. He's just more of a point fighter, while Topuria goes for the finish. And I could see him getting the finish because it was on 2 week notice. He's been training. He's been in the gym consistently. I think Topuria is going to get the finish. Late first round, early second round. I think he's going to figure the guy out. He's very explosive on the feet, and I think that's one of the biggest differences between both guys. On to the next. That's probably the best lower card prelim fight on the entire event. It gets worse, okay? Cody Steele, a lot of power in his hands. We saw that in Dana White Contender Series. We've seen it in his past fights. Rong Zhu, not so much. He's chinny. We know how they are on that side of the world. Chinny, chinny, chinny. Okay? I don't mean that as a slur. It's the truth. Those guys cannot take a punch. His record shows it. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to catch him. Cody Steele by KO. First round. I'm pretty confident in that pick. Jonathan Mikalev versus Kevin Doucette. Jonathan, didn't do great in his Dana White Contender Series debut. I understand this is actually UFC debut, but he didn't look great. He's a little slow, and I think Kevin Doucette is training at City Kickboxing. I know he's a French guy. He just lost against Brian Battle, which actually was not a bad loss because we've seen Brian Battle do well against higher competition. He lost against Randy Brown, but he did well in that fight, taking it on short notice. I understand he missed weight. It was a short notice fight. You get what you get on short notice. We saw that with Volk. We've seen it with past fighters. It's just what happens, I think Kevin Doucette's going to get this one done. Third round TKO. I don't think Jonathan is ready for cardio in the UFC, to be honest with you. I remember this guy too. God, there's a lot of Dana White Contender Series fighters on this one making their debuts, huh? Quillen Salkid. Very strong grappler, very slow on the feet. Good striking, tight striking, but just slow is what I've seen. I understand he can keep a pace going, grappling. And I don't see Anshul Jubilee catching him. I think he's a good fighter. I just don't think he has enough pop in his shots to put this guy away. I understand that they're both good grapplers. From what I've seen in their last fight, Salkid looks better. He looks stronger on the ground, and Jubilee did not. He started to wear second round, third round. His gas tank was not there, and I understand he got a lot of hate for that fight. And I think he's going to come back with even more pressure on his shoulders, and he's going to cave. I'm going with Salkid by third round TKO or submission. I think he's going to wear on Jubilee, and this is probably the last time we're going to see him in the UFC. On to the next. Hyung Sung Park versus Niam Jargal Tumendebrel. This guy looks like he was in the Mongolian army. I don't know where he's from, so I don't want to be racist, but 8-1 is a good record. Mongolia, look at that. See, I do know. I understand things, you know, I'm sound. I'm going with Hyung Sung Park. He has the red shorts on. He has the UFC gloves. That is my final pick of the entire card. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe. Leave your thoughts down below. I'm sorry that this card is terrible. I will go have a talk with the bosses and we'll get this sorted out. So next card, it will be a banger and we will get an entire stacked card, okay? We're going to have a conversation. We're going to sit down. I have hope. I hope this card is full of KOs and good fights. We'll see. All right? No promises.